Hey, beautiful people. This is me, the Infinity Midwife, coming to you once again. I hope you're taking care of your minds, your hearts, and your entire being. Okay. I'm just going to stabilize the energies. Okay, you guys, so I'm coming up with a channel message. I had this channel message for weeks now, maybe even months, that I kept quiet about because it was a bit too much for me to handle. It was pertaining to a passed on relative. So, I used to, or, I'm getting back into doing seance. And when I say I do seance, it's mostly to communicate with the dead, or with the community at large. And when I say the community, I'm talking about those that are alive and those that are transitioning, or that I have transitioned. Okay. And so once on one of those seances that I was holding, or that I was doing, I had a channel message from a passed on loved one about his death. Okay. So he had relayed information about his death, that it was not accidental. It was not an accidental death. It was actually something that was planned. He had explained to me that he did not want to go out that night. He did not want to step out that night. But when he stepped out, he was very much like influenced into going out. He was not the type to really go out. Like, he was very much so a loner. And so he relayed this message to me, and I did not post it. I did not, fight for whatever information that he was giving to me. And so today, while I was doing my ritual, I realized that the message was coming up again about, having to post about this. So I said I was going to do it. So this is why I'm making this video. And now I'm not going to put names out here. I'm not going to put myself in harm's way because, we never know who could be using this information or watching this video, right? I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to say is there has been many practices about, there has been many practices of families, being the origin of murders within the family. And what I recollect, one of the information that my relative passed on to me was that it was for insurance money. Okay, so basically it was for insurance money that got collected on his behalf, and that was shared amongst his sibling. But he was very loved. He was very loved, and he had a purpose on this earth. He had a purpose, a bright purpose, but people destroyed him. People killed him way before his time. And so he's very much so not happy, obviously. Like who wouldn't be? Who would be happy that, you find out that your actual family had an insurance policy over your name, over your life, and that they planned your death, right? Saying that it was an accident, but in reality, it was not an accident. It was all planned out. So I said I was going to make a video about it because it needed to come out. Yes. So it was not something, it was not of natural death that this person died. But I'm also seeing that two person died that way. Okay. One, you know, what I'm getting is, yes. So what I'm getting is it's a practice, okay? It's a practice, and it's something that is not just it's not something that's solely pertaining to a culture or to a group of people. It's something that is global, okay? People do this, and I want to talk about this because it's a curse. It is a curse. It's a curse on a family, right? Some are thriving to bring the family to another level spiritually, materially, psychologically, emotionally, mentally. And then some other people in the family are there to do just the opposite. Bring more chaos mentally, spiritually, financially, emotionally. And it's not practice that are done in the dark, right? It's practice that people know of. It's practice that are being talked about. It's practice that are being shared amongst one another. And those that do not agree are being pushed out to the side, or are being left out of, those practices. So basically what it means is you can have a family member, or, you can have a family member in your family and they die, right? They die. Some might say it's natural causes, but, we don't get really to the bottom of the root cause of it, because there could have been, energy manipulation. There could have been some form of, when I say energy manipulation, mostly you got to get down to, black magic. Now, some say black magic don't exist, but I want to say that when you are unaware, okay, when you're not vibing on that level of consciousness, if you are not aware of, if you're not on purpose, if you're not vibing on a high frequency, okay, it will get to you until you start being aware, okay? Until you start being aware, forms of manipulation, energetical or mental or spiritual or emotional, can be done. And if you are not aware, if you are not walking with discernment, you are most likely to fall in these traps, because it's not done with just one person doing it. Okay. So these schemes or curses of, repeating, family curses of, killing somebody in the family for insurance money is more common than you think. And some people are being left out of these practices because they are not of the dark. They are not for the continuation of those practices. But those that are in the know, those that done it, they are repeating. And it's even passed down from generations down. So that's a big curse. First of all, you're choosing of a life to take in your own fucking family. I'm sorry for the cursing, but it needed to come out. Like, you're choosing who's going to go out, right? Most of the time, one of the clues that you need to look out for, if you're not a person that walks with life insurance and you realize all of a sudden that there's a life insurance policy under your name, right? Sometimes it's because people are getting ready. They know they have a certain illness. They want to walk with their life insurance because they know they want to leave something for the family. Yes, okay, I get that. But not everybody walks with a life insurance, with life insurance. Not everybody does, okay? So that can be an indicator, that people are pushing for life insurance. Hey, do you have a life insurance? And they all come up with the beautiful benefits of having a life insurance policy, right? But most of the time, what you don't see or what you don't know happening is that there's an actual plan. And most of the time is people in your own family that are gonna be instigating. They're gonna be plotting on when's the best time to do that. They're even probably going to hire someone, right? They're probably going to hire someone to do the work, to do the job, hire someone that's probably going to be closest to the person who's being plotted on, right? So they're going to hire someone who's going to be like an investigator or some form of hitman, who's going to walk with that person who has a death wish on their head, or who's walking with this on their head, but they don't know about it, right? And then sometimes it's going to be actual lovers that your family hired to get you killed, because there's an insurance money or life insurance money somewhere that is being promised to that hitman, right, from your own family, saying, well, if you work with us, there's a life insurance policy on her head or his head, and when he goes down, we're going to split it 4 ways or 5 ways, whatever have you. And then you have people agreeing to that, right? You have secret societies agreeing to that too, where they have rituals and then when I say secret societies, it can be coven, it can be through religion, it can be family that got brought through that religion, through maybe a certain high priest or high priestess. So it depends. Like, there are many doors to those dark occult groups. Okay, it's not just Freemasons. There are many other groups that do that. Some are known, some are well known, some are less well known, but they do exist. Sometimes it could just be family ties. Families that got together with an inside man or inside woman that give them the information on how to do certain things, and then they go to a high priest or a high priestess that get the spiritual knowledge on how to do these things, and it gets done. And then it's repeated throughout the family, right? Finding someone who's the weakest link, or someone that do not abide by their rules or regulations or their way of doing things, and they're going to plan and plot against that person. But one thing that people do not understand is some people you cannot attack because they are chosen. Some you can attack, right? And you're going to get karma eventually. And I know that people do not believe in karma, but karma do exist. In all religion, there's going to be a verse. There's going to be a citation of you can do this much of good, and this much of good is going to be brought back into balance. You're going to do this much of bad, and this much of bad is going to be brought into balance. That's karma. However people look at it, they want to believe it or not, everything that we do is seen, right? Maybe not from this realm, but it is seen, it is noted, right? And whether people think that, karma does not exist, well, wait, everything is going to happen in due time. People are going to get served, whether hot or cold, right? It's going to take time, but you're going to find. And if it's not you, it's going to be the legacy or whatever wealth you left on earth when you left, right? So we got to be careful on, certain curses that we carry through. And it's just sad, because when you're walking with those type of curses, you are not at peace. You can never find peace. You're walking with blood on your hands. And it's not something that you can just get rid of, because there's a whole system behind it that once it is triggered, you're automatically under investigation. And it's just a matter of time before there's someone that does its job correctly, that there is a system in place that's going to start doing the investigation properly, in order to realize that it was all planned. Right? By the time, when was the insurance policy taken, the life insurance policy taken, who was the beneficiary in that life insurance policy? Was the signature authentic? If that person, was that person in the know even that they had a life insurance policy? Like, this society needs to be more hands-on with the type of crimes that are happening in families. Okay, so that's one of the curses that are very, very much that are very much happening in families, and that screw people over. Because here you think, your sibling or your parent died of something, but little did you know it was an actual plotting that, your entire family or a group of your family were planning probably like years ago, right? And it's just sad, but this is even more so to come to the reality that the family you're born with isn't going to be necessarily the family that you're going to need to walk with as you evolve on your soul journey. We're all here, we like to say blood is thicker than water. I want to defer that. I want to challenge that. Because if we start looking into the era we're walking with, the type of investigations that are coming out, the type of crimes that people have been committing, you realize that no, that's not true. Blood is not thicker than water at all, right? You realize that sometimes your own mother, your own father are going to put you through some shit. And you're going to ask yourself, why? Not that you're going to be, you're going to have to judge them, or, you're going to have to, annihilate them. But you definitely don't have to associate with them as well, right? One other type of crime that is pertaining to the home, because I'm getting the messages as I talk. One of the other crimes that I'm getting that are pertaining to the home or to the family environment is, how you think you have married someone, but then you realize that person was, drugging you and, making you run trains and collecting money out of it. It's a practice. It's a curse. People have done it in families, right? They marry with certain individuals, or family are plotting to get certain individuals involved with their daughter or their son. And they have a whole plot. They have a whole system of exploitation. That's what I call a big curse, right? And then the person who's married, they don't get to know this until 10, 20 years later, when there's an actual investigator, someone who's really who have seen this practice happening many, many times, and they're ratting on the person or on the spouse. Why not? So there are so many practices and so many curses when it comes to family and home that we need to have discernment. We need to have discernment to the type of people we allow in our house, we allow in our home, right? Sometimes people choose to marry, suggestions from uncles and aunties, but you don't know if your uncle is really for you. You don't know that. You don't know if your auntie's really for you and she's going to present to you someone who's that top notch, who's really good for you. You don't know the type of intentions people are walking with, right? You don't know if they're presenting to you a devil, or they're presenting to you someone who's going to really be there for you, or maybe for them. You don't know. You don't know the type of contracts that people are pulling up together in order to plot on their siblings, on their relative, it's huge, right? Some, it's the inheritance, right? You have a whole inheritance that is being shared or exploited by a whole group of your family. Little did you know you were the actual beneficiary of the whole thing, right? But they made the choice to leave you out of it because they felt that, you weren't worthy, or, you were doing your own thing, or they made a judgment. But who are they to make that judgment? You know what I'm saying? So there are many, many curses when it comes to family dynamics. When I say family, home dynamics. And we need to come off of that veil that, blood is thicker than water and that we need to accept everything that our family does. That's not true. We do not have to. We do not have to. Because if we are standing on the sideline, we're not saying anything, but we know what's going down, we are just as convicted as they are, because we have not said anything. Same for incest, right? You have family members sleeping together because it's a curse. It's a practice. It's a practice that goes on for whatever purpose. It's a fucking curse. And if you are on the sidelines, you know about this, but you ain't saying anything, you're part of it. You're part of the problem too, right? Why should we allow these things to happen? Right? Why shouldn't anybody say anything about this? Right? And so it just brings you to a reality that family is not all that there is. Right? The family that you come into are most likely there to bring you lessons than to emerge and walk on your soul journey with you. Most of the time, your family is going to be the first opposition to your soul evolution. They're going to be the first people to question, why are you transforming? Why are you changing? Why do you have the nerve to do what you do? Why are you so different? They're going to be the first one. They're going to be the first opposition. And then some people are going to say, well, it's because they just want you the best for you. Are you sure? Have you checked their hearts? That's why I say most of the curses that we come into this world is going to be some past life curses that we carry. And because we've chosen to break some curses in our family dynamics and then within ourselves, we are going to create havoc in our family dynamics, because it's going to shackle, or it's going to bring down their whole foundation of curses, right? You're questioning everything that they're doing. You're no longer vouching for them. Or if you were silencing yourself, or if you were not saying anything, you were still vouching for them until you start speaking against it. And then most of the time, you're the next target when you start talking about these things. And there are many, many family dynamics that have ways of silencing relatives by gaslighting, by exiling, by isolation, by rumors and gossip, tainting your reputation. There are so many ways, so many tactics, narcissistic tactics that are happening, right? So how is family blood is thicker than water? Somebody tell me. Is it for curses to continue? For exploitation to continue? For abuse to continue? You've grown in a family where you know that there has been some abuse happening. There has been exploitation of family members, right? For money gain, right? And you're not saying anything. Were you on the ends of it? Did you get a certain monetary compensation to shut up? For how long? For years? Oh, and so now you need to quiet down? Or now you do not need to remember? How deep does those curses go? That's just like a wheel of karma that are being turned. It's just funny to me that some individuals that will claim and that will lift the flag of family are going to be the first one to stab the knife in your back in the name of family. In the name of family, or in the name of material gain? Somebody please tell me. So that was the message that I need to share today. Yeah, so yes, but it's all coming to a halt. A lot of people are getting karma for these practices. Insurance money, life insurance money, inheritance money, exploitation through abuse, through through exploitation through spouses, many types of exploitation. It's all coming down. It is all coming down. It is all coming down, and it's all being halted. People are being put out into the open. People are being shown. Wow. People are being shown for who they really are. I have the Two of Swords. I have the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands in reverse. So the Two of Swords in reverse, the Eight of Wands in reverse, the Two of Wands in reverse, and the Four of Cups in reverse. What I'm getting with this is a lot of people aren't happy. A lot of people aren't happy that their shit is being closed in on them, Xeroxed in on them, because they thought they could continually do this, right? And sometimes it's even messed up because it goes down a generational line, right? So if, the uncles and the aunties and the fathers and the mothers used to do this, well, guess what? Now it's going to be the cousins, right? They're going to spot a weak, or, the one that is the most weird out of the whole bunch, and they're going to sacrifice them for money gains, right? Some it's gonna be through exploitation, and those type of practices surrounding the family environment dynamics needs to stop. And I'm the first one that's gonna vouch for it firsthand. Yeah, and most likely it's family members who are very much so well spoken. They look well, right? And they have a facade of, just winding you on their fingers, right? They talk well. They're very charming. They are very creative in how they express themselves, and even in how they do these things. They have all these meticulous ways of I want to say, masquerading people. So even when there are investigations that are ongoing about these things, it is hard to decipher who's really behind these things. And most of the time, because the entire group of family is in on it, you're going to have, right, investigators that are going to dismiss the case because they're all pointing, or they all agreed upon a narrative that, that is pointing towards, the person they're plotting against. They're going to say they're the one at fault. And because everybody's in it, right, everybody agreed to the same narrative, you're looking like the dummy, or you're looking like the faulty one, or you're looking like the accused one, when in reality, it's just been a whole illusion that was being brought up by a leader that was very creative in how they was going to manipulate people around them into having them into, hopping in that in that wagon of, exploitation, basically. And one other thing that we don't talk about is people do sleep. There's a lot of incest as well, right? People sleeping with one another for monetary gains. This shit goes deep. This shit goes real deep. Sometimes it could be unhealthy relationships of siblings, relatives, all kinds of incestual relationships happening. It's just crazy to me. And then we want to say, blood is thicker than water. No. Curses are thicker than water, right? Because a lot of people are dwelling into continuing those practices more so than, purging themselves from it. It's crazy. Anyways, we're not going to stay too much in that energy. Yeah. I'm getting King of Coins in reverse. So it's leaders, right? People that had. So again, in the era that we're stepping away from, we're finding out that a lot of people that were in leadership positions, whether they had covens, whether they were leaders of churches, whether they were leaders in their community, whether leaders of their family, you know, whether there were, you know, references in their family or in their groups, right? They were all seen as respected, as, you know, people of words, people of conviction and morals. Come to find out that they were just about greed, exploitation and greed. King of Coins in reverse. Exploitation and greed. It's just sad. So yes, it needs to be stopped. And if you are on the other end of the stick, you know, if you're watching this and, you know, you've heard of these type of practices in families, you need to speak up too. Or you need to take side. You need to pick sides, because justice is being served across the globe for everybody being involved in these type of crimes. Nobody's gonna be left out. Two of Wands in reversed. There's not gonna be decisions of, you know, leaving some people out. No. If you've picked a side, you've known of a practice happening in your family dynamic and you have not said anything, or you were trying to silence yourself and, you know, not be involved, well, you're going to be part of the ones that said nothing. And that is conviction as well. There's jail time behind this. So, you know, if you know of something happening like this in your family dynamic and you're not saying shit, it's time for you to pick up a side, and quick, because karma is here and is knocking people down quick. People are not going to be able to move forward. Six of Swords in reverse. People are not going to be able to move forward. It's a cruel world we were living in. For real. But those that know, those that are stepping up in new leadership positions, it's time for us to really speak on these things. Or we witnessed it, or we were plotted on, or we were marginalized, we were exiled because we knew of some things of this and we did not keep quiet. It's time for more of us to step up in these leadership positions. I'm gonna leave it at that, you guys. It's a good thing that I did that video. I feel more at ease. So take care of your minds, your hearts, and your entire being. We'll see you next time.